See the big smile on his face. That's because G-Day might have been last week, but that's pretty much all Shock and I have been talking about. So many positives in that game. Overall impressions, real quick.
I thought it was a good showing. You saw a lot of newcomers. You saw some of the old guys, and you put it all together. Of course, it was vanilla, but you got a chance to see what the next Georgia Bulldog team will look like.
Yeah, the 2024 season, a lot of hype around it. So let's take a look at each position group post G-Day. And we're going to start with the passing game in general. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight end, Shock. 87 pass attempts combined between the red and black squads. And we saw just how deep both receiver and tight end are really for the Dogs coming up.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the group that carries Georgia's offense this season. You talk about the depth you have at receiver. You talk about, you see Dom Lovett with the big catch there. You see Kobe Young right there, the big receiver. You like to see Sokobe White had a touchdown. There's going to be a lot of different weapons that you can get the football to, but you have that guy, number 15, that can sling the rock. You saw Gunner right there on his opening drive, throw the rock down the field. This is going to be an interesting unit to pay attention to. And don't forget, we got Rod Thomas still in the building who can make plays for you. It is going to be fun to watch this unit get after it and put up tons of points this year. They got the signal caller. They got the guys on the outside who can sling it. Let's watch these guys cook this season. I think Mike Bo is going to have a great opportunity to put up the big numbers this year.
Yeah, now we talk about depth in general, Shock. The offensive line on both squads showing that there are capable starters deep in this position group.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's what you want to see. You want to see these guys be able to go out and compete. And we saw each lines of scrimmages where you're talking about the 1 group, 2 group, 3 group. All those guys protect really well. I don't think the quarterbacks got sacked maybe 2 or 3 times. You didn't see a lot of pressure on them. Now, of course, the defense didn't bring a lot of pressure, but there were some moments where you had some guys that had to be one-on-one, and I thought they held up pretty well.
And we talk O-line, so now we got to talk running backs. Obviously, every Georgia fan is excited about the addition of Trevor Etienne, but your guy Roderick Robinson stood out looking like a grown man. And although the Dogs did lose Andrew Paul to the transfer portal, they're going to get Branson Robinson back this fall, along with some really talented freshmen.
Yeah, this is a loaded group as well. You're talking about some guys who are a mixture of a lot of different running backs. You're talking about Robinson, who is a big, physical, grueling guy. I saw him catch the ball out of the backfield here a couple times, which was really good to see because that's what you got to have in this offense. But you're talking about some of the young talent that's coming in. It is going to be a bruiser of I say position group because they have the physicality to run with, but they have a lot of depth as well. So it's going to be an interesting group to watch as well.
Sure. Now let's go to defense. The D-line includes experienced guys plus younger guys who could factor in. And Shock, the biggest guy that could factor into what's going to happen has to be Mykel Williams, right? Goes from that traditional role to more of a stand-up edge role.
Yeah, I think Mykel is going to be the guy you look at next year and say, all right, Georgia's back into the draft status of drafting guys in that first round from the defensive line, what we've seen the last 2-3 years. He is in that mode. He's going to take that next step as a junior. I know he want to do some better things, but this is a deep group as well. Warren Brinson, Christian Miller, Nazir Stackhouse, Chaz Chambliss, Joseph Jonah Ajayi, a guy who had a couple sacks in this ball game. They will be deep. Just can you get these guys playing at a high level to start the season will be the question.
Absolutely. Now we go to linebacker. Smile Munden, he's out this spring recovering from surgery, but you mentioned depth, another deep position group. C.J. Allen, Raylan Wilson, Jalen Walker, just a few names that are going to have bigger roles this year.
But the one thing I like about all these guys, athletic, guys who can run, guys who are not afraid to stick their hat in there. We know what Smile can do. He's played a bunch of football for him. C.J. Allen and Wilson came in last season, played a bunch of ball for him, but that guy right there, Jalen Walker, keep your eyes on him this season. He could be a guy that can be an absolute difference maker for all 3 downs this year. I think he makes a lot of noise for that linebacker crew, but as a whole, this is a very fundamentally strong and athletic group that I think is going to be tough for opposing offenses to do something with.
And then we go to the DBs. This is an interesting group because you lose so much talent to the NFL draft, but then you also add so many potential impact freshmen. But even though that's the case, Kirby Smart said after G-Day, the secondary isn't where it needs to be right now.
Yeah, no, and I think that's going to come with it. You got a lot of young guys on the back end. Dalen Everett is a guy who played a lot last season. Malachi Starks is going to lean a lot on him. But I was very interested to see Aguero in this ball game who's going to play that star role. We talked about it last week. A guy who has to take over for Ty Key, a guy who's take over for Javon on the backside. Ellis Robinson, KJ Bolden, can those young guys step up? That's going to be a big question mark for them. Kirby talks about, hey, can we have some other guys be in the mix? Yeah, they're talented, but they're also young. Will these guys be a part of the plan early in the season? We'll see. And I think KJ Bolden's one of those guys that when the season comes around and Clemson comes to knocking in their first game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, he will be on the field and having a big chance at contributing to this defense.